All right. Hey, well, good afternoon, everybody. Bill Utenage with Damascus Road Coaching and Consulting. Hey, and today I'm coming to you it's a special treat for me, and hopefully it is for you as well. I have Chris Greenwold, who is one of my rock star clients, with me today, and just wanted to have a conversation with Chris, kind of just talk about about coaching and the coaching process and kind of his journey inside of coaching. And so, Chris, thanks for joining me today on this. For those folks that don't know you, hey, tell us, well, we already know you're Chris Greenwald, but where you're living, your business, and how long you've been doing it.
Chris Greenwold, Country financial representative. I'm based here out of Champaign, Illinois, and been doing this for 15 years now. I'm not sure where those years went.
I
We
know, man.
specialize in our office in the home and auto and commercial lines of insurance. We also do life insurance and some financial services as well.
Awesome. And so, how big is the team now that you've got?
We have a team of four currently, one sales and two support staff outside
Okay.
of myself.
Gotcha. Okay, cool. So let's kind of jump into it a little bit. Kind of share with our folks just today is like, because everyone comes from a different place, because they hear coaching or consulting, what that looks like. But what was it that was happening in your life, in your business, that made you decide where it's like, hey, I need some help outside of what you can do for yourself to step into coaching?
Well, Bill, when I started in this industry, I knew I was a great relationship driven salesperson,
Mhm.
and the business grew. After about 8 years, I grew to the point where I could start to bring a support staff on to aid me in what I was doing. However, I could not retain them, nor could I get them trained in an efficient time frame. And that's where you came into play and where Damascus Road came from. I knew you from a previous life, and I watched the individuals that you mentored and grew for your team, and I knew I wanted to be a part of that. I knew I wanted to try to build something that was similar, where my team had the same values I did, and were driven by systems and processes. Being relationship driven meant that systems and processes were not my forte.
Mhm.
And so when we started working together, what I was looking for from you was help in developing some systems, and then also help on moving those systems out to my team. And more importantly, especially with the Damascus Road part, doing that in a way that was grounded in Christian fundamentals and built around that.
Nice. Well, thank you. Yeah, I mean, and as most businesses, what I find, and you and I talk about this all the time, is we rise and fall to the extent of our process and our systems, right? Inside of that, it's either people or it's a process inside of the business. So, and I think you kind of touched on it a little bit, Chris, on that, but kind of share with with the folks that are listening, and and again, that maybe thinking about coaching, is it right for them? Because I get it, it's a big decision to make, but what were the aspects, I guess, of what I did, with you, that you've got kind of found like to be the most valuable for your business?
Well, I mean, from a revenue perspective, you've helped me drive my business to grow by over 4.5 times since we started working together. It's allowed me to grow from that point where I could just add one support staff person to now we have two full-time support staff people and an additional sales staff. The things that you did that allowed me to do that was helping me develop those that systems and trainings that I was hoping to develop, but you did that by holding me accountable, helping me evaluate my successes and failures. It's not always a great pat on the back. Sometimes it's simply, well, if I'll never forget, we were probably 2 years in, and I'd had a goal on there that I hadn't achieved for about 8 weeks. That was make a phone call to somebody, and you said, well, if this was a goal, you would have done it by now. I think it's time to take it off your list. And it's that challenge, that honest accountability, um, that has really been the most helpful for me.
Yeah. Well, I appreciate you saying that. And I sometimes I say it, it's tough love. And the thing about with coaching is I think, is that people, they they think about it being from a punitive standpoint. And what that, and my goal and always has been is really just holding my clients, capable of what they can do and what they want. And it's not what I want, right? I don't I have I ever I don't set your goals for you, correct?
Not yet.
So, and so I won't change it, but they're your goals. And so it's just the thing, like, how can we, working together, right? How can we, do that to make sure that we're hitting that. So kind of maybe if you wouldn't mind kind of like sharing because what people do is, you hear about coaching and, especially on the online world, it's like, we're going to, and thank you for sharing, that obviously you've 4X'd your business and in all transparency. Chris has been with me for 3 years as was one of my as a one-on-one coaching client of mine. Not everyone stays for 3 years. Some people, sometimes are a season, on that. And so Chris and I have had, a great relationship, and I hope that it continues. And I always say it's going to continue as long as you feel like I'm bringing value, and then what I'm doing is helping you get to where you want to be. And that's for all of my clients. But you talked about, the 4Xing of the revenue, but anything else that you can share kind of like from a specific result that has happened since, we've been working together now?
The systems and the trainings and the culture of the business that you have helped me shape has allowed me to grow. I mean, I was struggling to keep a part-time staff member, and some of these people were my close friends when I hired them and left
Mhm.
hating me. Um, we've moved to the point where I've had a couple people leave, specifically retire, and they follow up with me to this day. We've transitioned this from me being able to hire people for a job to bringing people in to the culture and the values that we have, and those systems. And working with you has been a huge part of that. The revenue's been great, but what's been better than that for me is that we have really built out something I'm super proud of, with a team.
Yeah. Well, good. Well, thank you. I appreciate you saying that. And I think that, and that's one of the things, that I look at is that it's kind of like you hear, you and I kind of talk about it's building a lifestyle business. It's not being, attached to the business 24/7. And there's times, we've all struggled, with all of that, where it's like, how do we get balance? Right. And that's one of the kind of like the misnomer, and sometimes in business and in coaching. But I think, what I've seen you do. And here's the other thing is like, and I hope as you're listening to Chris, here's the thing. What I don't want you to hear is like, this isn't about me. This is about Chris has done all the work. I've been here, our weekly calls, and we have metrics that we set inside of the system that I use and follow those. But at the end of the day, he's done all the work. He's 4X'd his business. I didn't 4X his business. He's 4X'd his own business. I'm hopeful that I've had some, guidance in that between the systems and all of those things. And really at a lot of times of being really just a sounding board. And I'll just say, like, for you, Chris, and here's all transparency. Chris and I just got off of our weekly, our coaching calls every Tuesday. And we just got off that call. And then we hopped on here to do this interview. And so it's one of those things where it's you setting those goals, you're doing the work. And that's what leads to it. And so anybody that's thinking about coaching is like, if you have a coach that says, I'm going to do all these things and make you this person, I'm always leery, of all of that, because I've been coached I get coached now, as well. So let me ask you this, because is in all of that is like, what during this process now, it's been now a little over 3 years that you and I have been together, is what have you learned though about yourself in that process?
Well, a lot of it is that I've learned that I was telling myself several stories before working with you. And when you talk about you see your role as supporting me in that, the challenging that you've done that has allowed me to go, oh, am I really not capable of that? Or is it something I feel a little uncomfortable or don't want to do? And I've learned through that process that I'm capable of a lot of things that I didn't know I was capable of. That some of the things I've always called my business weaknesses
Mhm.
were really just my business I don't want to's. Um, and that really, there's a lot that if I'm willing to do, I'm capable of doing that I didn't know I was capable of doing before, and or thought, well, I'd be better off just not bothering. And I continue to learn that I'm capable of things I didn't know I was capable of prior.
Yeah, that's awesome. And that's the thing is just like, even, like we were just talking about the call we just got off of it, is that, you're like, you usually have the answer. It's just like hey, here's what I'm thinking, right? It isn't me telling you. Sometimes I do. There's certain things that I will say, and you and I were talking today, and get an example about communication. I was sharing with you about, the research I've been doing in the financial services and the insurance world about churn rates. And the biggest thing that is communication. So you and I were talking about that, but you already have it. You're just like running, hey, this is what I'm thinking. What do you think? And I'm like, yeah. And 9 out of 10 times, yeah, I'm agreeing with you. I'm like, yeah, I think you're spot on with that. Or, or what we'll do is go, you know what? Let's test it. Let's find out, right? Let's put it to market, so to speak, and let's find out if that's gonna work. Then we're able to get feedback, on it. So thank you for sharing that. So what would you say, Chris, is like if someone was considering like coaching, like working with me, let's just say, for example, on that deal is, and they're unsure, about it, like. And again, I think you come from a great place because it was, it's been 3 years. So obviously you found value in it. What was like 1 or 2 pieces that you would share with someone that may be on the fence about doing that?
If you're in the property casualty insurance business right now and don't have a coach, I think you're nuts. If you're anything like me, and you've got to be if you're having any success in your business, you are busier than you know what to do with. I'm working more this year, despite the fact I've got a larger team than I've worked in years, and that's because of my clients' needs. They're calling more. I'm quoting more business than I've ever quoted, and that is simply the market as it stands today. If you don't have a coach, and I'd be amazed if you're taking 30 minutes out to look at the future, to plan for the future, to evaluate what you're doing right now, because we're so deep in it that the future, working in the business, that working on the business is hard. And what you've done for me is allowed me to continue working on the business over the course of the last 2 years, where the growth was going to be there regardless. I don't know that my sanity was. When I'm talking with other insurance agents, one of the biggest things that I'm hearing is down, disgusted, frustrated. Revenue's growing, but happiness is not. And through working with you, I've been able to keep that vision locked out a little further. And so it's much easier for me to maintain some peace and some happiness and stay focused on the future.
Yeah. Well, thank you. Yeah. And I mean, and that's really the key is I got into the coach because I was coach. I've been coach for, back before coaching was a thing in our business, and why I was drawn to that. And so and I appreciate you saying that is because it's, and especially, as a solopreneur, right? As you look at this, it's not where it's like, sometimes there's isolation, there's a loneliness of like, and people don't sometimes, understand, that part of it. And to be able to have those, those conversations that you and I have had, and that I have with my, with my other clients, as well, as just a part of like, okay, hey, I got somebody in my corner that's helping me get to where, that I want to be on that. So, hey, as we're closing this up, because I want to honor your time.
I did want to hit one more thing there,
Yeah.
because I actually had 2 for that. The other thing that I would say to anyone that wants to work with you is that they will get a great ROI on the energy they're willing to put in and follow through and follow up. But this is their work. I mean, you've said it a couple times. You will help me identify what I need to do, but you've not done it for me. If you're willing, you got to be willing to do that work. And if you are, for me, the results have been life changing.
Yeah. And that's the thing. And I give you huge kudos for that, Chris, is because you've done the work, and we know it because we can we just look at results, right? I mean, that's the thing, is we look at where your business was, where it's at now, and where our anticipation of where it's going to grow and go to, and giving and having more of an enjoyable life in the process of it. Now, it's not all roses and puppy dogs. We all know that. But at the end of the day, is that we can start having more consistency inside of that, in our business and with our personal life. That's hopefully that's what everyone is looking to do. So, hey, anything else you want to share with the folks watching this today that we didn't cover, or I didn't ask you?
If you're willing to take the leap, I think you've quantified it well. Professionally, I've been able to produce the results that I wanted to produce and spend consistent time evaluating that progress. And personally, I've been able to create a better life, better quality of life for myself. So I think that's one of the most important things people could know, that this is an opportunity to do.
Well, Chris, thank you. I appreciate your time. I appreciate you for how you show up, on our calls and doing the work. because it is work. It's not magic. It's not a silver bullet. If you want to build a great business that's going to be sustainable, I wish it was overnight, and that would be great. Even I could charge a lot more if I could help people get to where they want to be, right? In overnight. But unfortunately, it just doesn't work. It just doesn't work that way. So Chris, thank you so much. I appreciate you for hopping on here today and just kind of sharing your experience with me over these last several years. I'm looking forward to obviously to more of your success too as well. And hey, if you're watching this today and you've got questions about coaching, it all starts with a conversation. And so let me know. You can find me. It's BillUtnage.com, and or comment wherever you're watching this video today, just in the comments or shoot me a direct message. Love to have just a conversation to see if we're a good fit. I may not be for everybody, and I definitely understand that, but I'll be honest with you and share that with you, whether or not that I feel that I can help you. And I'd love the opportunity just to have that conversation. Chris, thank you. Thanks everybody. And I'll see you on the next video.